Welcome to The Thriving Mama, the podcast that teaches you not just how to survive, but to thrive in motherhood. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Davis. A ritual is a sequence of events involving gestures, words, actions, or revered objects. Rituals may be prescribed by traditions of a community, and there are often many religious ones in nature as well. And they're a feature of all known human societies. If you look back on the thousands, it's essentially hundreds of thousands of years of human history, there are rituals and traditions, even when we didn't have very much spoken language. It's well documented that even, a study just came out the other day that the Neanderthals actually cared for their dead. They put them in, there were burials, there were flowers, there were, that is a ritual. Rituals are things we place a pretty significant reverence and importance on. But what about the rituals we do when we're alone? In this episode, we'll discuss the difference between a routine and a ritual, how rituals can improve your health, and 3 simple rituals to incorporate into your mama life right now. Want to chat and get more personalized support? I'm offering podcast listeners a free Thriving Mama check-in where we'll evaluate your physical, mental, and emotional health and provide useful resources to help you along your journey. You'll find that link in the show notes. So to get back to, ritual versus routine, as I said before, societally, rituals have been around as long as humans have existed. They are fundamentally intertwined in our DNA and passed on from generation to generation. We have rituals surrounding, important and sacred events, spirituality, and the many rites of passage we go through as a society. It's one of those things where if you think back, even on your own life history, you probably have been a part of many rituals, whether they were like religious in nature. I happened to grow up in a Catholic family, and so it's baptism and communion and confirmation, and there's lots of other ones there too, for the, spiritual high days. But there's also other religious and spiritual practices that are really ritualistically based. So that's, very prevalent in our society. But also think about it like birthdays. Birthdays are something that's important. The birth of a child, the passing of somebody. All of those things are very important and reverent in our society. Holidays even. That's one nice thing in our modern society that we have maintained is we do have holidays where everything shuts down and, we actually can come together and celebrate each other, celebrate, an important day. There's, and have our own rituals surrounding that. So, there is a certain importance, reverence, and respect surrounding the rituals. And one thing that I wanted to point out is sometimes a ritual can even seem very simple and commonplace, I should say, such as like the Pledge of Allegiance at school. It's different than, the morning announcements that usually come on after the fact. There's not an importance and a reverence placed on that, but there very much is an importance and reverence placed on saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And one of the big things that makes a ritual different than a routine is because routines are basically a sequence of actions regularly followed and are performed as part of a regular procedure rather than for special reasons. I like to think as, their routines are more like habits. They're parts of our day that are things that we often get done, like brushing your teeth or combing your hair or taking a shower. But it's not the same as, something that is ritualistic that makes you have that level of reverence or importance or respect or something you really feel connected to. And so that actually got me thinking about rituals and health, but specifically rituals for, yourself as an individual. In this case, we're speaking to moms, but this applies to anyone. Versus for your family or community, because obviously, like I said, rituals are heavily intertwined into our lives. And so families have rituals. It might be to have, like I said before, dinner together at night as much as possible, or a Sunday dinner, or, just like doing certain special things for birthday celebrations, where we're going to be talking about rituals, surrounding and involving ourselves, because that's something just a little bit different. And the reasons why it's important, from a health standpoint are several. The first one is connection. Rituals and connection are important in so many senses, but in the context we're talking about is going to be more connection to self and connection often to spirituality. When we have rituals, it allows us to have some, more introspection, to be more tuned in and aware, and, to observe and hear what our body is telling us, and in our mind, and, even spiritually, you can get messages as well. So allowing the space for ritual allows you to have more of that connection to self. And then, like I said, even spirituality. Another thing it does is there are actually studies that show, regardless of it, whether or not it's like a ritual with self or a ritual with community, it leads to reduced anxiety and stress. And this is largely because it regulates your nervous system. It's something that is expected. It's something that provides harmony, which your body loves. And it actually helps improve your neurotransmitter balance, or your brain hormones and your hormone balance, and then just your overall well-being, because you have a much more regulated nervous system. And as you've heard me talk about many times before, a dysregulated nervous system is literally one of the primary root causes of everything, whether it's chronic illness, mood-related issues, and everything in between there. That dysregulated nervous system really is a primary root cause of so many different things. And to kind of piggyback from that previous point, it leads to increased happiness and well-being for the reasons we mentioned before, but also because on both a conscious and a subconscious level, you're telling yourself that you're important and you matter. You're worthy of this dedicated time and space and activity that you are, allocating to yourself. This is really, really important, because it's a big piece of the puzzle why moms end up struggling. Moms struggle because they don't take that dedicated time to focus on themselves. We label it self-care now, but truly it is just, telling yourself like you're important enough for this like space and time to be allocated to just you. And so that also is going to lead into, the next piece of the puzzle, which what are these rituals? What can they look like? And how to actually implement them. I always tell moms that I'm working with, this is a good first step to prioritizing yourself and self-care, because often these rituals can be done pretty quickly. They aren't things that have to take 30 minutes or an hour. It's something that can take 5 or 10 minutes. And most of us can find 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning, middle, or end of the day to complete a ritual that, kind of focuses on ourselves. So like I said, if moms are having a hard time fitting it into the day, I'm like, pick one. And, if you're really daring, you might want to try two, but I usually tell people to keep it simple and easy. So, pick one and see how it works for you. The first one that I have a lot that I recommend. So I'm going to give you guys the 3 that I think are probably the most impactful, because truly anything that is important to you and calms you down, lights you up, brings you joy, brings you calmness, peace, any of those things, that could be considered a ritual. For some moms, that might look like hopping in the shower and dimming the lights and just letting the water, saturate your body. Because, when you've got little ones, that's often something we consider a privilege and not something that we do to take care of ourselves. And the whole purpose of doing this is to establish something that's just for you. And I will also give the kind of caveat and premise of if you have little ones and you have older kids, have your older kids maybe watch your younger ones while you're doing this and make it intentional. Tell them why you're doing it. If you could also do it before your kids get up in the morning or after they go to bed at night. There's lots of times to do this. You just have to be very intentional about it. So the first one that I often recommend is starting the day with a warm beverage in the sun. It's kind of funny because for a lot of us, the warm beverage is often coffee, and that can definitely get you going on a high note. But I would just be telling you to be aware of how that coffee is affecting you and see, is it making you feel anxious? Is it making you feel like buzzy? If it is, you might want to, switch it to maybe a decaf and when I say decaf, I always tell people to go for the healthier versions if you can, like the water processed decafs, or a mushroom. There are lots of functional mushroom drinks out there, or a tea, or hot lemon water, or hot like ginger and lemon water. There's lots of things you could do. But yeah, start the day with a warm beverage in the sun. During that time, you can spend time considering gratitude. What are you grateful for in life? Envision your day. Just sit there and shut your eyes and breathe for a few minutes. Let the chaos leave your mind and just enjoy sitting there. If you're outside in nature, that's great. That would be ideal because getting the sunlight in your eyes is going to be a benefit for your circadian rhythm. And it's going to help, kind of set the day on a really good tone. If you're religious or spiritual, you can also pray or connect with, God's spirit source in your own way. This just really is preparing your body, mind, and spirit for the day ahead. And I know this can be harder in wintry environments. So for that time of the year, I tell people to try the next option, which is ending the day in a room with one of those like the Himalayan salt lamps. I've got one sitting here, right here, and I've got one behind me over there. If you can see it's a little candle with a light in it. And when you turn them on, it's just a soft, warm glow that will just kind of set the mood and set the tone. Similarly, you could lower the lights in your house if you have dimmer switches, or you could just shut the lights off and have some kind of ambient light coming in from another source. Or if you do happen to live in a warmer environment where, where the winter isn't so harsh and you're not freezing at dusk time, you could go outside and sit in the, dusk light, because again, getting that light into your eyes is going to actually help, again, regulate that circadian rhythm and help you prepare for sleep. During the time that you're sitting out there, you could consider what you're grateful for that day. What were the highlights of your day? Was there anything really, important or amazing that happened? Was there something that happened that you didn't like and you'd want to change? These are the things you could consider. Again, it's like letting that chaos leave your mind and just like being in the moment and breathing. And again, if this is something that fits into your kind of moment then and feels good, you could bring in prayer or a spiritual practice or even a gratitude practice at that time. And like I said, it'll prepare your body for sleep and just, get your body into a calming, more parasympathetic state versus being in that sympathetic go, go, go. And the last one is usually kind of an augment to one of the options that I mentioned before, but it is writing or journaling. Free writing or journaling is a great way to reflect, release, reconnect, and rewire. Those are kind of the things that I talk about when I'm talking about this with the people I work with. You're reflecting on yourself in the day that you had. You're releasing what isn't serving you, or if emotions are coming up or feelings that are something that, like I said, isn't serving you, or you want to try to let them go. Feel that feeling, thank it, and then say, I thank you, but, I don't need you anymore. You can go, like that type of thing. Something super simple like that. Sometimes that's really easy to allow really minor things to leave your body, like an irritation or something simple. A lot of the deeper things you can't really release that way, but sometimes some of the more simple or more superficial things you can release in that way. Reconnecting, it allows you to reconnect to yourself and your needs. And that's really important. That's that attunement I was talking about, that awareness, understanding, what you need, what the different parts of yourself need. That's all really, really important. And then rewiring. What do you want to change in your life or relationships or within yourself, like self-growth, that type of stuff? It just getting into these zones allows you to have a different lens, perhaps, on your life and what you're doing. And it allows you to see the big picture. And if you're journaling, it also allows you to track, where you are now, where you were before, and then also keep, an eye on what you want to be moving towards in the future as well. These are all just really, really important pieces that if you are a busy mom and you're spread really thin, this all gets, kind of lost in the mix. And we talk about this a lot, but when you are stressed out and you're in survival mode, it shuts down your prefrontal cortex in the front of your brain. And it does not allow you to have that kind of creativity or that awareness because you're just trying to survive the chaos. So this could be a first step into self-regulating, and bringing it is a ritual that really will help set the tone for your nervous system and your life. And there are lots of positive things that come out of that. So I'm going to leave you with this. I invite you to incorporate a ritual or two consistently in your life for the next month. And I'd love to hear from you how it goes. You can comment. I know on YouTube, there's a place for comments. You can email me. You can message me about the results, like on social media. I would absolutely love to hear from you and hear if you are, incorporating any of these, how it changed your life. And also, if you have any suggestions on other rituals. And like I said, I offer lots of options for rituals for the people I work with. But if you have any other suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you. Remember, knowledge is just the beginning. Taking action is what truly sparks change. If you're overwhelmed and don't have enough energy to make it through the day, I invite you to book a free 20-minute coaching call with me. It's a no-obligation chat where we can discuss your health goals and how I might be able to help you achieve them. Visit the link in the episode description to book that call. Until next time, keep striving for wellness, and remember, you have the power to not just survive, but thrive in motherhood.